Find out how good we think the new project boxes and paint rack really are.
Spiking bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Today we are going to compare and contrast the new paint rack, which seems to be featured in each one of these configurations here, both the paint box and the hobby project box, just in time for the holidays. So first off, we'll take a look at the hobby paint rack here because it's the lowest common denominator between the two other project boxes. This comes with two of the new Citadel paint racks for $18, and you can kind of see all the accessories and things that come in the box. Really, it's just their feet right there. But once you get it open, and they really they kind of stuff it in here pretty good. This is of course made in China, distributed by G-Dub there in the UK. You just get two of these hard plastic thingamabobbers and the shelf supports right here. Now overall, these are about 5.5 inches by about 7.5 inches tall, depending on which way you want to say is up or down or things like that. I kind of like them because they have the little brackets right here that you can actually, insert a screw and slide it down or slide it up, depending on which way you want to actually have these. So you can mount them on the wall. And then these little square peg hooks right here, which you're going to see throughout all of these, are for the legs. Now, I was really worried when I started looking at it here, to be quite honest. I was like, how strong is this? Because it seems like the point of failure would be right here when you start thinking about it. Each of these holds like, 18 different paints, I think it was. Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oh, more than that. Huh, okay. Well, it's going to hold a lot of paint, and when each one of those is roughly 12 milliliters, it could definitely stack up pretty quick. So when you grab these and actually place it down, it seems to hold support well. Now you're probably wondering why is there hexes, and that's, you already saw it, but they do fit pretty snug in here as far as that goes. You don't have to worry about them falling off, and I'm definitely shaking very vigorously. And that one almost fell off. So don't drop your paints in the rack right here, and you should be okay. I would worry about maybe the lids popping off. And if you don't like the vertical, you can always go landscape and lock that down. Well, actually that doesn't work so well, so you probably want to put that back here, and that would definitely works a little bit better, and it gives you a nice easy reach for these. But I would be very careful when you're inserting these paints back into here that you just put your finger around like that, and it actually has a little open bracket. Hold it as you insert into there, because over time I could see where these pressure points would wear on these, and you might actually see some failures. But even if this fails, as long as your leg doesn't break, you could just flip it around and use these notches right here. So maybe that's a smart design on Games Workshop's part. Without knowing the stress tests and the wear and tear on these things and the development and the engineering that went behind it, I can't really say for sure. But it seems sturdy, at least at the first look. Just kind of give it a little bit of extra support when you're putting the paints on it. So next on deck is the Citadel Paint Box itself. Now this is a $50 offering that comes with two of those paint racks themselves, which, as we just showed you, retail for $18. Now what's cool about this is it does fit in the existing GW figure cases. So if you take out some of the foam on, I think it's called the battle case, which I'll show you in a second, you can actually put this on the top. So you have a kind of a solution to bring your paints, but also bring some of your figures out and about if you're on the go, down to the hobby store or something like that. And then it stores 42 paints, because each one of these, I looked it up, hold 21 paints. And then you can fit another approximately 28 paints in the bottom. But of course, if it's the larger wash pots, not quite. They count as like kind of 1.5-ish. Speaking of which, here is the Citadel Battle figure case. Now that you see this, you probably recognize what exactly I was talking about. And it appears, and I don't have one, please excuse me not having this case. I haven't bought any of these cases. It looks like it would fit right here in the top, because the bottom's kind of tapered, so I don't think it would fit there. So you pull out this foam, and I do like the zigzag foam. It's not for everything though. It definitely works better for figures, not so much for vehicles and large monsters and things, but it looks like you could fit it on top of here. So $83 for this case, plus another $50 for the paint case, and then you have the Citadel branded to-go solution for your paints and figures. So back to this bad boy right here. Let's open it up and take a look at exactly what we got going on. Now this case, it's about a little bit, you know, you can fit two of those racks side by side. So you're looking at about 10.5 inches by about 8.5 inches. So it's easily concealable. It can fit in a lot of different things. Let's open this up right here. And I feel like this is an interesting configuration here that I have no idea how this actually releases. Oh, okay. Wow. All right. That's interesting. So that's kind of cool. Like, we hadn't seen something like this. So it locks in and it holds the top down. I know in the past a lot of these latches have gotten broken from Games Workshop, but it seems pretty hard plastic. It seems like the point of failure will be in these hinges right here. But I like this. This is different. Haven't seen this before. It seems like it spreads the force throughout the latch, the hinge itself. Okay, I'm behind that, because what I'm going to show you in the Citadel hobby box is one of the points of failure, like a very easily destroyable clasp, that if you've probably seen some of these products in the past, you have seen people walking around like the old figure case. Wow, this takes some practice. Okay, but I like it though, because it equally spreads the force on the clasp. Neat. Okay, I'm behind that. That's probably gonna have a pretty good shelf life. All right, so we got the tray lid right here, which you can of course actually work on and then put your paint palettes and such. As a matter of fact, I have the paint palette here, just so you know. Hey, there we go. That's pretty neat. So it fits pretty decently. And take the lid off there. Wow, okay. So what do we got? So these lock in. So they got these little grooves here that locks them in, so they don't move vertically, and they stack on top of each other. So it actually looks like these will fit, and then the top on the lid. So can we put, yeah, there is clearance, so you could put wash pots in the top here if you wanted to. So pull this out and pull this out. So there's a notch here where all your paints are gonna set, and I like that. I like this design so far. Oh, okay, so they lock together when the little thingies aren't in there. All right, that makes more sense. And then you can put your paints down here. Now, I'll be honest, I don't like, this is personal opinion here, I don't like putting these down sideways, because a lot of folks on the internet have already noted that these aren't the best designed pots. And a lot of times if you get material down in here, it's gonna create, it's going to destroy your seal, and your stuff's going to dry out a lot quicker when you start doing. But when you start doing stuff like this and putting those wash pots, we've all seen the memes on the internet, right? Oh, I lost, I flipped over my wash pot, I lost $8, and like all it takes is one little, not 100% seal, not getting a good seal on one of your wash pots, and there goes $8 in wash because you laid it down horizontally. I don't like that. That's just personal opinion. I would not personally do that. If you're gonna put your wash pots in here, I would strongly recommend you put them like this. But then look at this. When you pick this up and you actually carry it, well, there's no carry handle. Okay, so when you carry it, you're actually literally gonna carry it like this. So as long as you do that, you can put your wash pots in the top. You probably won't have any problems with them. So just kind of bear that one in mind. So $50 US for this. Holds the 42 paints or 42 pots in the lid here, and then another 28 in the bottom. And there's my 2 cents on the design. And last but certainly not least is the new hobby project box this year. Now this literally takes up the whole frame of the camera. It is quite large, but I think it's actually only a little bit bigger than the last hobby box. So it's about 17 inches wide by about 11 inches tall, if you want to call it that. Now, something that's really cool. Now, this is $80. It comes with 3 of the racks, which we already established they're worth about like what, $9 each, give or take. So 27 minus 80. It's less than the Citadel Hobby Project box from last year, from 2017. It does have space for your tools, which we'll get into, kind of comparing and contrasting between the two hobby boxes here in a second. But maybe more importantly is it holds a lot more stuff. So it's going to hold 56 paints right here. plus I think it was, I don't know, 63 paints right there, plus another 56 in the bottom. And you already know how I feel about laying your paints down like this. With these bottles, I don't feel like it's a good idea. Now, I went through and replaced all my bottles with eyedropper bottles from Amazon. You can pick these up. I want to say you get 50 of them for like something silly like $20 or $25. These are 15 mLs, and you got to look for clear, because you don't want opaque, because then you can't see, you know, what's the paint color inside. But personally, I feel like this is a better way to do it, and we have a whole article on the site how to transport or decanter the paint out of each bottle into the new bottle. But I digress. That's just personal choice right there. I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't like this design personally, knowing the fail rate of these bottles. And once you get a little crud inside, then they start leaking. But I do like this design here, because the old project box really had a problem with kind of locking those things in. Now, another cool part about, or I guess feature to this, is it actually fits inside the Citadel Crusade figure case, much like the paint box fits in the battle case. So here's the big daddy of them all, the Citadel Crusade figure case. It is, well, it's wider than this one. So you can kind of see, again, it probably fits in the top right here. So you pull out these two pieces of foam, and it probably sockets in and then locks down. And you still have some room at the bottom, you know, for any other foam trays each might have. So you can transport some figures, you know, transport all your paints and your tools for $124 plus $80, $200 out the door, just to carry your stuff around. So once you get it opened up, there is a mountain of room in here for all sorts of activities. You see why you only get 3 trays here, because you have your tools over here, which makes a lot more sense. The side clasps are that style that we just saw with the paint case right there. So those are going to be on the side and not the top and bottom, so to speak. And then you can put your tools in right here. Now, I really like how there's this little peg where you actually lock in your Citadel clippers. Now, the Citadel clippers are really great. They're expensive, but they're very, very high quality. There are better ones on the market out there for about half the price, give or take, but I've had these from some reviews back in the day. And then, of course, pin vices, X-Acto blades, and all sorts of things. The seam scraper, I love this thing. Would not live without. But it all fits in here, and it's all pretty cool. And like I said, at the bottom, you're supposed to put those paints sideways. Not sure how I feel about that, to be quite honest. And then somewhere in here, I guess, you put your little stand, so you can kind of have them out there. Maybe you could slot them in here. I don't know. Actually, let's take a look at that, because that might be kind of smart. Yeah, they hide right there. Okay, so that's kind of neat that they thought of that, and it doesn't take away from any other storage space or anything like that. Now, as far as the old project box goes, if you have that from last year, this is kind of how it compares. So it literally can fit inside the space right here. And then remember, these Buster clasps, these are pretty weak, and I've seen a lot of these fail. They're very similar to the old Citadel cases from back in the day that everybody always seemed to run around. They would bust out right here and actually snap and get sheared off. So I do like that they went ahead and kind of fixed that design problem right there. Once you get this open, this is how it used to look. So there was the round spots where you would put your paints, but they didn't exactly stay in there. They could definitely kind of come out with the hex design. They stay in, which I kind of like. And then you had the tray that was separate. But I really didn't like cramming down your tools and stuff into those little notches right there. That seemed kind of silly in you know, my personal opinion. Now, pulling this out, there was more spaces where you're supposed to put your brushes and things, which again, I think was pretty silly, because, you know, they could just slide and get jammed up and mash into things, you know, if you turned it like this, and there goes all your bristles. So I don't know where exactly you're supposed to put your brushes in the oh, another thing I didn't like is this was always ridiculously hard to kind of line back up again. Oh, there it is. And sometimes it didn't like slot in right, and you didn't know if, I don't know, it just seemed like it didn't slot in quite right, and you can never really tell which way the lid went on. It seems like it always goes on the same way, but I don't know. Sometimes I was definitely wondering right there. But I think that one was $60 back in the day. So as far as this goes, you know, it seems better designed, from the hinges to the layout to the fact that the paints all lock in here. I just don't like the way they expect you to lay down your paints in the bottom right there. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed our unboxing and review of the new Citadel project boxes and, of course, the new paint rack, and give you a better idea of what exactly comes in these and perhaps, you know, how you can better utilize them. Now, I'll be honest, this is purely my opinion. There are better solutions out there for less that accommodate both dropper bottles and GW size stuff. You can see them here on the channel. One of them is the Slow Fuse to go bag that I personally use and I have used since it came out, and I will continue to use it for quite some time. All you need is a little artist easel and you can actually set it up right, pull all your paints out, set it up on your desk, and when you need to go, just plop it back in the bag. But I digress. This is more about the GW stuff. If you love the GW style, you love the Citadel everything, and this is a lot sturdier than some of the bags out there, well, then this might just be for you. So either way, that's just my personal opinion. I hope you enjoyed our review. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to like and comment on all our videos.
Spiking bits.